So I'd been watching a couple of Joe Rogan interviews, and in the interview, one with Jordan Peterson and one with Douglas Murray, Joe brought up a section of the Bible from 2 Kings 2:23, where the prophet Elijah is taunted by youngsters. When we read the Bible, the best way of understanding what's happening is to get more of a context than just one verse. And if you read the entire chapter 2, you'll find that Elijah, the older prophet, was taken up from Elisha, taken up in a chariot of fire and fiery horses, and Elisha did not see Elijah anymore. Conveniently, Elijah and Elisha are chronologically the same order as alphabetical order in English. To paraphrase what happened, Elisha had seen Elijah being taken up to heaven, taken up out of his sight on a chariot of fire, and he reported that, and the people of a nearby town looked for Elijah for 3 days, and then they stopped. And as he was on a road, some young people, the word in the Hebrew is actually a very broad range of ages, could be a child to a teenager. So a bunch of youths came out and were taunting him, and they said something along the lines of, "Go up, bald head, go up, bald head." Various versions give different translations. In Idioms in the Bible Explained by George Lambza, he indicates on page 13 of my edition that bald head is metaphorically a liar. And we have a similar phrase in English, a bald-faced lie, or bald-faced liar, that indicates that there's something that's such a blatant lie that we refer to it as a bald-faced lie. And this is the same thing that's happening in 2 Kings chapter 2. And I would point out that 42 of them are mauled by bears that come out of the woods. I think it's the King James Version that says 2 she-bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of them. Well, if they're old enough to come out of the town, it seems to me that that's more like a group of teenagers, and that there were 42 of them mauled, of however many there were. That sounds to me like a street gang. No, there's no reference in the Bible calling them a street gang, but that's what a street gang is. And they came out and they taunted him, and he stopped and looked at them and cursed them, and 2 she-bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of them. They were essentially saying, well, the last prophet that had gone up was never seen again. And they were referring to him as a liar. They were taunting him, saying, you go ahead and go up also, and you're a liar. They were denouncing him as a prophet. And you may say, well, yes, and maybe they weren't making fun of his hair, but they were still just expressing free speech. And I would leave you with this thought. If a essentially anti-God man stands in a field during a lightning storm and raises his arm to heaven to flip off God, no one can really complain if he gets struck by lightning.